Do you support Hamas?
No.
Do you support Hamas?
No.
I don't support Hamas. So that's done. Do I support
no,
Israel?
stop for a minute.
Can
It's
I finish
not
a sentence?
done. No.
Can I finish a
No,
sentence?
not when you don't let me finish sentences.
Joe, let me finish mine.
Bullshit,
And I promise I'll let
Mehdi.
you give a long answer. I'll give you a long answer if you let me finish this one sentence. Hamas? Do you support Hamas?
No.
I don't support Israel. Do you support Israel?
Yes.
Now when
Stop. No.
It's very simple. You're here to support Israel.
No, but stop. But Hamas.
Why don't I talk about something we both disagree with?
Hamas has been the governing entity in Gaza for how many years? So yes, you do need to talk about Hamas.
Hamas. When I talk to people who support that, I ask them about that. You are a supporter of the Israeli government, so I'm going to ask you about Israel.
And
you can do whataboutism all you want. Again, that's what MAGA people do here. When you ask them about MAGA, what do? They blame the Democrats. So let's not play that game. Let's ask you about Israel.
Mehdi, it's not the MAGA game. I'm going to say yes. Israel's made mistakes. I'm going to say yes.
War crimes.
Israel.
No, I'm asking war crimes.
Israel. Call it what you want. Israel.
No, I'm asking you to call it.
And I'm going to tell you. I don't know. I'm going to tell you.
No, Joe.
No.
I'm not going to let you run away with it. You can shout all you want. 335 bullets fired into a car with children. Is that a war crime?
I don't. You know what? Could be. Investigate it. But God damn it,
it was investigated, Joe.
This is what Hamas does all the time.
Joe,
hiding behind civilians is a war crime. You know.
Mehdi Hasan absolutely destroyed a sold-out ex-congressman, a pro-Israel idiot, for yelling at him without evidence. If you watch my channel, you might have seen many paid-out Israel agents, but I can guarantee and request every one of you to watch this video till the end, because this guy is the worst of them all you have seen who got paid by Israel. It's like this guy came to the talk show with only one thing in mind, and that is, yes, I don't know any logic, any evidence or any proof. All I know is Hamas is bad, Palestine is bad, and Israel is not doing any harm to civilians, and people are just spreading false narrative against Israel. So guys, let's watch this video together.
And this has been their policy from day one.
What I acknowledge about Hamas is irrelevant because I don't support Hamas.
Let me hear you say it.
I don't support Hamas. Do you support Hamas?
Do
you support Hamas?
No.
Do you support Hamas?
No.
I don't support Hamas. So that's done. Do I support Israel?
Stop for a minute.
Can
it's
I finish
not
a sentence?
done. No.
Can I finish a sentence?
Not when you don't let me finish sentences.
Joe, let me finish mine. But I promise I'll let you give a long answer. I'll give you a long answer if you let me finish this one sentence. I don't support Hamas. Do you support Hamas?
No.
I don't support Israel. Do you support Israel?
Yes.
So that's what we're going to talk about. Now,
stop. No.
It's very simple. You're here to support Israel.
No, but stop. But Hamas.
Why don't I talk about something we both disagree with?
Hamas has been the governing entity in Gaza for how many years? So yes, you do need to talk about Hamas because Hamas did what they did on October 7th.
And we've condemned it.
Hamas has a history. Do you condemn? Yes. Do you condemn?
But you're not condemning Israeli war crimes. That's what I don't understand. You're trying to dodge it with whataboutism about Hamas. It's a very simple question. I can keep going. Let's play a clip here. Let's play a clip for you to watch. We got a clip of a grandmother. Here's a grandmother. Maybe you're not aware of this one. This is a Palestinian grandmother in her 50s. She's holding a child, right, in her arm. He's got a white flag. She's shot in cold blood by an Israeli sniper who's...
Mehdi, I don't know what the hell that was. That's not... How do I know?
What? How do you know? Literally, Mehdi just showed you the video right in front of your screen of what the Israel army did to an innocent civilian, and after watching this you are asking how do you know? Guys, isn't that just proof that he is sold out? Because if not, then I don't think any person who understands what is good and what is bad could say something like how do I know after watching the video in front of his eyes with evidence. This is really a bullshit to me.
It's a sniper who shot at a Palestinian grandmother.
Mehdi, you invite me on, you show me a clip of that, and you tell me what it is. I'm sorry, okay, I'm not familiar with that. Okay? I'd like to know what that is. I'm not familiar with that.
You know I can go through multiple examples, right? You know that. I can start reading multiple examples. The Al-Dos family in Gaza, whose apartment building was bombed. We can go through each and every example.
But where you and I will disagree is this. And I'm telling you, this is ugly and it's horrible and it's unfortunate.
It's war crimes.
It's not Israel's policy to target civilians. Israel has gone out of their way not to. They are fighting an opposition, Mehdi, that has a history of doing the exact opposite.
You say they don't have a policy of doing that.
And see, you won't acknowledge that. Can you say yes or no to that?
What, yes or no to?
Does Hamas have a history of doing the exact opposite? Does Hamas
has a history. Hold on.
Target Israeli civilians?
Hamas has, yes, it has in the past. For example, when I was a teenager, I was condemning bus bombings, if you remember, in the 90s, right? But hold on.
As a policy,
this is
though,
pure
Mehdi.
whataboutism, Joe.
No, it's not.
It is.
As a policy. That's the policy of Hamas. the governing entity of Gaza.
I'm the only one here who has condemned civilian killings on both sides. You've called it a mistake, which I find grotesque. Let me read to you about Israeli policy. This is from Haaretz last year, Israeli newspaper. You're saying you're not aware of this. Let me tell you this. An Israeli soldier relays that a senior commander asked him to shoot an unarmed man with a white flag. He said he's got a white flag. He says, I don't care, shoot him, it's an order. Another Israeli soldier told Plus 972 there were no restrictions on ammunition. We could just shoot to relieve our boredom. We don't need to explain. You just shoot. When soldiers see someone approaching, it's permissible to shoot them. We can shoot a young girl, an old woman. This is testimony from Israeli soldiers, Joe, that it's a free fire zone. They can shoot and kill whoever they want. That is a policy. That is a war crime, and many would argue that's genocide. That is what you're defending today, which is kind of sad.
Do you believe... Answer this question.
No.
I'm saying I condemn that. And
finally, it's a war crime.
Hold on.
It's easy to say I condemn it.
No, man.
Why won't you call it a war crime? I'll say what Hamas did on October 7th was a war crime. Will you say what I've described a war crime?
Everyone's
watching. I'm the only one condemning war crimes on both sides.
Hold on. Maybe a war crime. I don't trust some international group who
You don't trust Palestinians who talk about being raped and tortured in captivity.
I don't trust an international group with an inherent anti-Israel bias to tell me that's a war crime.
Is the International Criminal Court anti-Israel bias?
Oh God, yeah, like the UN has, like the UN has in its.
You just made a claim. This is very Trumpy right now. You're just throwing things around. What is the ICC's evidence of anti-Semitism?
Do me a favor, do me one favor. Don't call it Trumpian. Don't call it MAGA.
Because it's so fascinating to see that you are borrowing.
I think the United Nations has an anti-Israel bias.
That's a different answer. I said it's the ICC. Where's the ICC's anti-Israel bias?
That's not Trumpian.
I don't want to debate that right now. I'm asking Israel, because it's a long debate. This is a very simple one. Where's your evidence of ICC anti-Israel bias? Most of the people they've indicted are African leaders. They haven't indicted anyone from Israel ever. They also indicted Hamas commanders.
Because I do not believe Israel's committing a genocide, and I think they were out of line saying that Israel's committing a genocide.
ICC never said they're committing a genocide.
What ICC said?
The International Criminal Court said he's guilty. They charged him
with war crimes,
with willful killing of civilians and starvation.
Charged too,
right?
Just a few minutes ago, he just said, "Yes, I'm sad. If civilians got shot, I feel bad for them." And within a minute, Joe Walsh is saying Israel is not doing a genocide.
And I'm telling you, this is ugly and it's horrible and it's unfortunate.
It's war crimes.
It's not Israel's policy to target civilians, because I do not believe Israel's committing a genocide.
As I said earlier, these people's whole game is that they will always pretend to stay neutral when you show them Israel's genocidal angle, but whenever they feel like they are losing and the money is not going to be paid, they just start repeating the same script over and over. And that is Hamas and October 7. Hamas and October 7. And Israel is not doing any genocide. If they were, they could have wiped out the whole Palestine, but they are not doing. So how is this a genocide? These are the lines they always use to try and win the arguments, but they always fails miserably. Guys, let me know in the comments if you agree with me on this one. So let's continue watching the video.
And guess who backed them up? Guess who was their advisor? Theodore Myron.
Charge 2.
Holocaust survivor. Israeli judge. Is he anti-Israel as well?
Charge 2. Netanyahu.
They tried Netanyahu and Gallant.
You think Benjamin Netanyahu and Gallant have purposely tried to destroy, kill, and starve?
That is what the evidence that the ICC have amassed.
That's what the ICC has
And your argument is, instead of engaging with the evidence, like the evidence I've given you, is to say that, hold on, let me finish that, that's anti-Israel bias. That's just Trumpian.
You're
not engaging in the facts.
Because you know what you've done? You know what you've done again? You're not the ICC, I'm not. You know what you've done? This is what you do. I love you, you're great, but you will grab example after example, and you'll tell me that factual instances, and you'll tell me this is proof that this is Israel's policy. And I'm telling you,
I literally just read out to you what soldiers say is
Israel's policy is not to target and wipe out and destroy.
And the difference between me and you is you're just opining and I'm giving evidence. How do you know it?
I've
given you an example.
You're giving me examples.
So far, since this interview began, I've read out to you what the Deputy Speaker said, which you condemned. I've read out to you about a kid being killed, which you apparently... Let me finish. You keep interrupting me and saying I'm interrupting you.
Bullshit.
A kid being killed, you've condemned it. I've shown you a video of a grandmother being killed. You said you know anything about it. I've read out quotes from Israeli soldiers, and I've quoted the International Freaking Criminal Court. And you said... they're just anti-Israel.
Tell me
that does sound Trumpy.
Well, they are anti-Israel. I've condemned every.
Hold on. Where's your evidence that the ICC is anti-Israel?
I'll condemn every example you've given me.
Where is the evidence ICC is anti-Israel?
My evidence that they're not is the way that Israel has conducted this war. Period. Trying to move civilians out of the way. Leaflets to notify civilians to get out. We're going to bomb here. Going out of the way. Clearing hospitals.
They destroyed most of the hospitals in Gaza. Just stop this.
Why did they destroy hospitals?
You haven't answered my question.
Have they not given warning?
It's very funny that you haven't answered my question, but I'm going to go back to. You've known me for years. I'm going to go back to it. What's your evidence that the International Criminal Court has an anti-Israel bias?
I think they've exhibited anti-Israel bias because I do not believe the evidence they presented justified that willfully Netanyahu and Gallant committed war crimes.
You've read all the evidence. The evidence is there.
I got to go back, but yeah, I read a lot of it.
Their legal advisor,
I do not
the
believe,
guy who supported them,
the
guy who supported them is a man named Judge Theodore Myron, who's a Holocaust survivor and an Israeli judge. He said
I'd feel the same.
These charges. Is he anti-Israel as well?
I'd feel this.
No, but is he anti-Israel as well? You don't say you disagree with the court. You go for this lazy, they're anti-Israel, they're anti-Semitic.
I do disagree with the court.
That's fine. But what's the evidence that they're anti-Israel?
I think they've always said.
It's just a conspiracy. It's just ad hominem. And that's why I say it sounds Trumpy. You just throw out anti-Israel. Based on what? You've got no evidence. I consider all day. What's your evidence for the ICC?
Because I think they had it in for Netanyahu.
Based on what? Who cares what you think? What's your evidence?
I got to go back. When I look at what was put forward.
They've charged mostly African leaders, and in this case, they've charged Hamas and Israel. And your argument is, instead of engage with the copious evidence that the prosecutors brought, that the judges have supported.
You look at the way Israel.
The evidence is there. You don't want to hear starvation.
You look at the way
they're starving people in Gaza. Are they starving people in Gaza?
What would you answer me something?
No,
No, they're not starving people in Gaza.
So Cindy McCain, is she anti-Israel as well, the head of the World Food Programme? Widow of the most pro-Israel senator in our lifetime. She has said that people are starving to death in Gaza, they're blocking our aid trucks.
Whose fault is that?
Is she lying, Cindy McCain? She's blaming Israel. Is she lying?
People in Gaza may be starving.
Is she lying is what I asked.
No, let me... Damn it, Mehdi, would
Answer
you ask
question.
a fuck? Then don't ask it 4 times.
This is one video where even Netanyahu claimed in the Nelk Boys podcast, which is total lie, saying that Hamas steals food from Palestinians when everyone knows it's Israel that stops food trucks from entering Gaza.
Why do they say Israel's like starving the people of Gaza?
Well, because we're trying to get the food in, and we let food trucks in, and guess what happens when we let them in? Hamas steals the food, takes the good chunk for itself, then they jack up the prices, and then they sell the food to its population.
And no one wants to talk about it. And if you do talk about it, you're anti-Semitic, which is so strange. Like, I don't know how they've wrangled that.
Yes,
Answer it the first time, and I don't have to repeat it.
Do me a favor, stop, let me speak.
Please.
Yes, there's starvation in Gaza, but gosh darn it, Israel has gone out of their way to allow aid in. And who's stopped the aid? I mean, for 2-3 years, who's robbed the aid trucks and all the aid coming in? Hamas. Terrorists.
According to the US government, the Biden administration you supported, they didn't present evidence of Hamas stealing aid.
Yes,
there were criminal gangs that Israel actually supports, according to the Israeli press.
This is one thing I would like to answer, Mehdi, and that is, don't you already understand that he has sold himself out to Israel? If he ever goes against Israel and says these things, then of course Israel won't pay him anymore. I honestly think he even came to your show under someone's influence just to fix Israel's image. And guys, have you noticed one thing? Whenever this pro-Israel idiot Joe Walsh is losing an argument, he suddenly starts yelling as if by yelling he can win the debate. Guys, comment down below and tell me what do you think. Do Joe Walsh's words actually have any logic, or is he just shouting for no reason? I would really like to know what you think in the comments.
That's happening right now. I don't hear you criticizing Israel for it.
I don't.
You don't criticize Israel for driving 40,000 people from their homes?
No, I don't. Look, Israel has to... They're not going to make the same mistake they made in Gaza.
They're doing exactly what they did in Gaza, actually. They're displacing people from their homes.
What do you mean they're doing what they did in Gaza?
Well, 1 million people have been driven from their homes in Gaza. And now we have 50,000 people. Because Israel is breaking international law.
Oh, not because the ruling governing entity of Gaza declared war on Israel on October 7th.
Even if that were true...
And that's not true?
No, there was a war before October 7th.
No.
I know Joe Walsh's world began on October 7th, but there's been no occupation since 1967. Hamas didn't even exist in 1967. So the war didn't begin on October the 7th. But my question is, you're saying now today...
Okay,
let me ask you this.
They initiated the latest stage of this war.
200 kids killed in the West Bank since October 7th. Are you okay with that?
No, I'm
you
not
condemn
okay.
Israel? Okay, do you condemn Israel for killing 200 children in the West Bank?
I'd have to know, Mehdi.
You'd have to know how the children were killed.
Yes, I'd have to know how the children was killed. Who's responsible for the children
The Israelis
killed.
are.
Just like
the
Israelis are.
Yeah,
just like I'd want to know
shots.
every Israeli,
These are kids killed with
every
snipers.
settler killed in the West Bank. Look, Mehdi, this is
200 kids killed, and you can't bring yourself to condemn
I
that.
do condemn it. I want to know.
You did just a moment ago. You literally did not.
I don't know who killed those 200
Israel
kids.
did, according to every international observer, human rights, the UN.
Show me.
Show me what?
Show
me examples
me.
of children.
Show me every instant where the two, and I'll show you a terrorist attack where 6 Israelis.
There is not true. There are no. Many of these cases involve children.
No,
who
I'll show you a terrorist
video
attack
from Channel
where
4 News.
Israelis
You're just
were
making
killed.
stuff up now.
No, I'm not.
You are. I said to you, many kids are killed, and you just assume there's a terrorist attack. No.
Mehdi, you make this sound like a fucking one-sided affair forever. I know the war's been going on forever.
Maybe that's telling. Maybe that's telling.
But hold. What do you mean? Maybe that's telling?
It is
Stop.
one-sided.
Stop.
One side is the occupier. The other side is occupied. One side has nuclear weapons and is killing thousands of children. The other side has not killed thousands of children.
Let me ask you a question. Answer this. There's no peace in that region. Why? Is it completely
because of
one-sided?
Benjamin Netanyahu.
That's why.
No, those are his words, not
that's
mine.
why.
Those are his words, not mine.
No, I'm asking.
It's funny because you said recently.
I'm not. I'm
glad you
not
brought this
asking.
up. You said there would be peace in the Middle East tomorrow if the Palestinians wanted peace and agreed Israel has a right to exist. That's all it would take. And that's all. It's on the Palestinians, you said. Israel has always wanted peace. Ehud Olmert came on my show. He doesn't agree with you. Ehud Barak doesn't agree. There are Israeli politicians who say, actually, no, Israeli governments have blocked peace.
Let me ask you something.
Netanyahu said recently, no, Joe, you don't get to ask me a question.
No, let me answer.
No, then I'm going to answer it 4 times.
Let me answer.
Answer my question.
I'm not going to accept
Benjamin
your answer.
Netanyahu says, I'm the guy who blocked peace, blocked a Palestinian state for decades. He's bragging about blocking peace. And you're pretending that Israel is the block.
Hold on. I'm asking you.
I can read you the quote.
I'm asking you. I want to make sure I heard you correct.
Go on.
There is not peace in that region. Are you telling me that's all on Israel?
It's not all on Israel, but it's mostly on Israel.
It's mostly on Israel. Going back 70, 80 years.
Oh, of course. If you want to get into 1948, we could do that. There'll be another show. We don't have time for that today. But in terms of the last couple of decades of the quote-unquote peace process, Netanyahu said, his words, everyone knows that I am the one who for decades blocked the establishment of a Palestinian state. He's saying it out loud. And then you go on Twitter and say it's all the Palestinians' fault. That's absurd.
It is, because the Hamas, the PLO, the majorities of the Palestinian people for years and decades do not believe Israel has a right to exist.
That's not
do you
true.
acknowledge that?
No,
that is true, Mehdi.
So as I promised at the start of the video, if you follow my channel, you might have seen many sold out Israel agents. But Joe Walsh is the worst than everyone else. In the whole podcast, whenever Mehdi Hasan showed facts and proof with evidence, Joe Walsh went crazy, yelling at him every time Mehdi asked a question. Now, after seeing the evidence when Mehdi asked, "What's your take?" Joe replied, "I don't know." But immediately after that, he started claiming Israel is protecting civilians, which is not true at all. Throughout the whole video, Joe Walsh only defended Israel's lies action without any evidence or valid points. As you just heard, he was yelling non-stop, trying to cut Mehdi Hasan off whenever he was losing the argument. We also clearly saw that Joe Walsh kept repeating the same script that all the other sold out agents repeat, and that just proves he is sold out, because if a person wasn't sold out and didn't get benefits from a certain agency, then there is no way they would risk their reputation in front of the whole world by defending something they know is completely wrong. Yet Joe Walsh is ready to do that, to accept and defend Israel's crime for money and protection. Guys, let me know if you agree with my point of view, and also share your thoughts in the comments. I would really like to know what you think about Joe Walsh's comment on Israel-Palestine debate. And if you like this video, please give it a like. That way you can help this video to reach a larger audience, and it will help this channel to grow so I can continue making videos like this. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This is a humble Lucas, and again, thanks for watching.